This is another video in the First Read series where I just read a poem for the first time for the sheer joy of it. I might get it wrong. I might be off a little bit. I don't know. I'm just reading it for the sheer joy of it the first time. I might be right on. Who knows? I think this is what brings us to poetry in the first place, it's sheer love and excitement. Sometimes we forget as we read more and more that that's what brought us here. This time I'm looking at a poem from the Poetry Society of America's page. And they have this series called In Their Own Words where the poets will say something about it. I'm not reading the In Their Own Words before I do this. I don't like to read or look at the poem before I do it. So I'm going to look at Luther Hughes and his poem, Near Sacrament. I don't know anything about Luther Hughes or this poem. And so I'm going to look at it for a first time and just see what's going on. With the In Their Own Words, maybe you can look at it afterwards and see if I was completely off or not. But Near Sacrament, I always look at a poem's form before I look at it. This looks fairly standard free verse. It doesn't look like it's in a traditional meter or anything like that, so I'm going to kind of treat it like that. If I see something different when I start to read, I'll look at it. But Near Sacrament. The title is Near Something Holy, near something that's a sacrament in itself, a holy act or a holy event or something like that. Don't really know what it is here, but we'll go. Sometimes it is a dream. The robin's slick song. So there's a nice sound in this beginning. I like the sound of a poem just as much as I do sometimes the meaning of it. Sometimes it's a dream. The robin's slick song, this S sounds in the beginning. Sometimes it's a dream. Sometimes it's a dream, and then sometimes it's going to be something else, I'm supposing. The robin's slick song, peering back the morning. So it's a dream that the robin's song is kind of peering back, opening up the morning. It is not morning. But it's not morning, which is what the robin song was opening. Or it is not. So there's a lot of it is right here, and it's playing on this sometimes. Or it is not like how morning comes, as if water from a glass. So it's not like how morning comes, as if water from a glass tipped over, but it is how I love you. So this is kind of backwards flow on itself. Sometimes it comes one way, sometimes it comes another way. So sometimes it comes all at you at once, and sometimes it's like opening up, a paring back of things. We're not sure what the it is at the beginning, but we're not sure what it is in the beginning as a reader. But it is how I loved you. But the I loved you thing seems to point to our main theme, which is sometimes the love that I have for you comes all at once, or it comes pared back. Maybe it was the original love, or maybe it's love in general. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Gradually and then all at once. Yeah, there's that idea right there that it either comes all at once or gradually. Cherry plum trees settling into their blush. Like the cherry trees settling into their blush of the bloom coming out all at once. Hills of sodden wheat, this golden field. This is nature imagery right here for tying this, the morning or the bird, the trees, the wheat, all these things that they open at once or they gradually open. It's kind of similar tying together. It can't stop returning to you naked, inching towards me, an adaptation of tenderness and force. So this kind of recurring looking back at this person coming towards you, its tenderness and force. At the same time, brief lights that fall gently from your hands. The brief lights that fall gently from your hands, I'm not sure what's that referring to. What that image is referring to specifically. Like it might feel like it's a light coming from the hands, or it might feel the touch is electric like that. I'm not really sure exactly how to interpret that specific line. If only the landscape were that simple, and we've had a lot of landscape in this poem so far, the trees, the field, all this stuff. If only it were that simple. But it's funny because what we've just gotten has not been simple. This person coming towards you, that in itself is a simple thing. But the other stuff, like trying to figure out how the love comes, being pared back, or all at once, isn't actually simple. Pollen in the air, each breath leaving the mouth like a man pushed from a building. A man pushed from a building might be quick, I suppose. But he's not pushed, he leapt. This is constant going back and forth on itself in this poem. That's like it's love is opening up slowly, or it's suddenly, or it's simple, or it's not simple, or he's been pushed or he hasn't been pushed. So there's a lot of like confusion about how to interpret how this narrator feels love for this person. It's coming out in the way this person talks about a little bit of everything. To what do I owe your beauty, to which I never fully required? And yet, while beneath you is what bloomed. This is bloom again. We had the cherry blooming earlier. This way in which love is blooming in a similar way as these nature images, but also is not as simple, we're told, as that. This is how it began, as dirt and desire, simply a small river. Like you can see these metaphoric, like a small river, and then it becomes, bigger or flowing. It moves into something bigger later, and it's aimless, but moving to where we're not sure where the river's going. As dirt and desire, these nature images tied together in with these images of desire or of direction, but even in the end, to where we're not sure where they're going. It's almost as if this relationship is not settled. We're not sure what happens with it. There's been this spark, this blossom of desire, of connection, and then what? We're not sure, because the narrator goes back and forth on itself. The idea of near sacrament makes sense in that, or like close to this sacrament, but not quite there. You're not decided yet. The poet's not decided whether they're going to be there or not. Very nice sound for this poem. The poet has a good sense of the line break and of pacing, which really works out pretty well. I think it's pretty fascinating little piece. This so much contradiction and so much of an expression of what love is or what it isn't in this small little piece. So nice piece. Like I said, Luther Hughes, definitely worth checking out. More poems by this poet.